Hey guys, it's Dana, and I'm going to share with you the top, is it 10? Well, the books that have made a huge impact in my life, books that have changed me. So these are really significant books that kind of shaped me as far as my value system, my goals, my personality. So maybe this will help you understand a little bit more about me and why I behave in the way I am, for good or bad. All right, so let's start at the age of 19. I was working as a dog walker, as a pet sitter, and I used to drive a lot. I was in the car a lot. I also had to work in this kennel, cleaning out the kennel. And when I was there, I always had the radio on. And when the radio was on, I was actually listening to talk radio, and I was listening to Dr. Laura. And at this point in my life, I had had a lot of relationships, and I was kind of between relationships, but I think that I wasn't doing a good job of picking good people to be with. So the first book that really changed me was Dr. Laura's, now this is the 10 stupid things men do to mess up their lives. I read the 10 stupid things women do to mess up their lives, but I don't have that book. So I'm just showing this one as an example because I guess I misplaced the women one, but I have the men. So this book really changed me as far as what I was looking for in a partner. And I don't think if I hadn't read this book, I don't think that I'd probably be with Jim. I'd be with somebody probably very different, and most likely somebody who wouldn't be so fantastic. And then on the heels of that is How Could You Do That? This is also by Dr. Laura, and I think that this is a really good read just about character and courage and who you are as a person. So I really like this book as well. All right, so this is a really old, beat-up copy of The Two Towers, which is the second book in the trilogy by Tolkien, The Lord of the Rings. You might have seen the movies. Well, I read the book as a kid, and this was the first book that I read, and I read it multiple times through, and it sort of showed me that novels could really transport you to a different world, a different time, and get you out of your head. So this sort of began my love of reading, was this book. And this is my favorite out of the trilogy, is the second book, The Two Towers, where they go to Helm's Deep. I love that whole scene. So this is my favorite book. Then there is Scott Peck's The People of the Lie. You might have seen Scott Peck on The Oprah Winfrey Show, but this book I think is really amazing as far as helping you understand psychology of people and in your relationships, what their motivations are. It was just, this book is so interesting. There's a lot of case studies in here that are pretty shocking, but I really enjoy this book from a spiritual side as well as from a psychological one. Now, I have a couple books that I don't have physically because I read them over audio. So I downloaded the audiobook, I listened to them multiple times, and the first one is Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. That actually was the book that I read that sort of triggered me to begin being a YouTuber and a blogger and all of that. So I think that Crush It really triggered that for me, and so I would say that that book was really life-changing. And if you haven't read Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk and you are into the online social media world, then I would say definitely go and read some stuff by him. Then there is Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. I am a huge Dave Ramsey fangirl. I would say right now he is my biggest influencer. I listen to his radio show every single day without fail. And he's really helped me to learn a lot about personal finance. And if it wasn't for him, I think that our personal finance would be a mess. So I love, love, love Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Now, right after I had my first child, I was watching massive shows. I was binge watching SuperNanny, Joe Frost. So I watched all of SuperNanny shows just on repeat constantly. And so I feel like my parenting style is very heavily influenced by Joe Frost and the SuperNanny. So I follow a lot of those techniques. So I bought the book This, I wouldn't say the book really changed my life. It was more the show. And I just, watching so many of those shows when I was home on maternity leave and even before we had children, just kind of helped me. And I still remember some of those scenes from that show. And it has helped me get through the early years of parenting. So, SuperNanny, Joe Frost. It's a good one. Another one that I listened to on repeat on an audiobook was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That kind of also triggered my entrepreneurial spirit, which I think is very strong in me. I've even, like after college, I started up my own business, which then I had abandoned after a year, and then I went into corporate. But I feel like it's something that's in my blood. I have, in my ancestry, I'm related to Milton Hershey. He's in my family tree. There's other entrepreneurs. I just feel like I have that in me. And so when I read that book by Napoleon Hill, I mean, that kind of, I don't know why that resonated with me. And it also kind of changed something in my spirit. And I listened to that book several times over. Okay, so I guess that was 8 books that I can think of offhand. I bet you after I'm done filming this, I'll remember a few others that I'll kick myself for not remembering, but perhaps I'll just write a blog post and link it down below about the books that have sort of shaped me and made me who I am up to this point. And if you have any books that have really changed you, please leave them down below in the comments and maybe I can go and check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye guys.
Okay.
And I've begun. All right, so I've begun the process. So I've written my first 500 words and I'm giving myself 6 months. So my book has to be fully written by October.
October.
Honey.